My little sister Zoe is 13 now. I really love her, and I think I owe her my life. I was 5 years old when she was born, and I was so excited to finally have a little sister. At first, I was jealous that she was getting all the attention from my parents, and I didn't pay much attention to her. Sometimes, I was just downright mean to her. However, all that changed the day I realized my little sister had a special talent. We were sitting on the couch one day, watching TV, when Zoe suddenly said, "Daddy isn't coming home." I was confused. "What did you say?" I asked. "Daddy isn't coming home," she repeated. I was quite unnerved by this, and I tried to question her further, but she wouldn't say anything more. About half an hour later, the phone rang. When I answered, there was a police officer on the other end, and he sounded gravely serious. He explained that there had been a traffic accident. My mother was in hospital with minor injuries, but my father had not been so lucky. He had died on the way to the hospital. The next few hours were a blur. I just switched off the TV and sat there in shock, staring at the blank screen. I was numb. They said Zoe was too young to grasp the situation, but she understood that Dad had gone and wasn't coming back. Almost a year later, there was another incident. It was a nice, warm summer day, and Zoe and I were in the park. Zoe was playing with a ball when, all of a sudden, she stopped and pointed at something. "There's a bad man over there," she said. "We need to go." When I looked in the direction she was pointing, I saw a man nearby. He was dressed in a grey, hooded sweatshirt. He had his hands in his pockets and seemed to be waiting for someone. But something about him definitely seemed strange. With the memory of our father's death still fresh in mind, I didn't question Zoe. I just grabbed her by the hand, and together we hurried home. The next morning at breakfast, my mother was reading the newspaper, and I noticed the headline on the front page: "Mother and daughter stabbed to death in park." Beneath it, there was a picture of police leading away a man in handcuffs. It was the man in the grey hooded sweatshirt. A chill ran down my spine. Any doubts I had before were immediately quashed. My little sister definitely had a talent. From that day on, I listened carefully to anything she had to say. One day when Zoe was 6 years old, it happened again. We were at a restaurant when Zoe suddenly put her fork down and then said, "Grandpa's gone." We immediately looked at her, and yet there was no emotion in her voice or her face. She just stared into her food in silence. An hour later, my mother got a phone call telling her that our grandfather had passed away in his sleep. My mother was very sad, but she'd been prepared for the bad news. And that was the last prediction for a long time. As the years passed by, I gradually forgot about my sister's talent. It got to the point where I began to dismiss it all as coincidence. However, last week, when my girlfriend and I were spending some time together in our apartment, I got a phone call. It was from Zoe. Zoe said, "I need to tell you something." So I asked, "What is it?" Zoe just said, "Listen, you need to listen to me. I have a terrible feeling that something bad is going to happen. You and Megan need to get out of there. Go to a hotel or something. Just get out of there. I asked why? What's going on? Zoe cut me off. I don't know. I told you what I know. That's all I know. Okay, I said. I understand. Bye, Zoe. I immediately grabbed my girlfriend and told her we needed to get out. She was asking all sorts of questions, but I had no answers. We just had to get out. She quickly packed some things in a suitcase, and we rushed out of the apartment. We went to a nearby hotel and booked a room for the night. The next morning, I got a call from our neighbor. He said that our apartment had been broken into, but strangely, nothing was taken. When he heard strange noises, he called the police, and they arrested the intruder. We had to go down to the police station. Apparently, Megan's mentally unstable ex-boyfriend had broken into our apartment. He was armed with a knife, and he was planning to kill both of us. When my girlfriend heard that, she was utterly dumbfounded. All she could say was, "How did your sister know?" Without Zoe, we would both probably be dead. It still haunts me. Nobody believes it, and even my girlfriend is still skeptical. But I know what happened. My little sister has a talent.